The real estate market just hit a fascinating tipping point. Properties that used to sell in hours are now sitting for weeks, and it's creating this perfect storm for a strategy called the BRRRR method. Let me tell you why this matters.
That's interesting timing because I've been tracking some market data showing a 40% increase in inventory across major metros. What exactly makes the BRRRR method relevant right now?
Well, BRRRR stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. And here's why it's genius. When markets shift like this, you can find undervalued properties that others are overlooking. Let me break down a real example I'm watching.
Hmm, give us the numbers. What kind of deals are you seeing?
So, there's this property listed at $200,000 that's been sitting for 45 days. Last year, it would have gone in a weekend. It needs about $50,000 in strategic renovations. But here's where it gets interesting. Comparable properties in the area are selling for $300,000 after updates,
That's quite a margin. But what about the financing piece? Because that's where most investors get stuck.
right? And this is what makes BRRRR unique. You start with a hard money loan at maybe 10 to 12% interest, which sounds scary high. But here's the key. You're only holding that loan for the renovation period, usually 4 to 6 months.
And then you refinance into a conventional mortgage once you've added value and secured tenants, right?
Exactly. And check this out. Current rental data shows similar properties getting $2,200 monthly rent in that area. After your new conventional mortgage payment, taxes, and setting aside maintenance reserves, you're still cash flowing about $500 monthly.
Well, that sounds great in theory, but what about the risks? I've seen investors get burned when renovation costs spiral.
Oh man, you're hitting on something crucial. The key is focusing on high impact cosmetic improvements. Updated kitchens, modern bathrooms, fresh paint. You know what kills deals? Finding foundation issues or needing to replace electrical systems.
Speaking of which, how are successful investors finding these deals in today's market?
So here's what's fascinating. About 70% of BRRRR deals still come through traditional MLS listings, but the real pros are building networks with estate attorneys, divorce attorneys, and even contractors who spot opportunities before they hit the market.
That makes sense. It's really about having systems in place and treating it like a business operation.
Exactly. And here's a surprising stat. Investors who treat BRRRR like a business, with proper systems and teams in place, see about 40% better returns than those who wing it. It's not just about finding deals, it's about execution.
Well, that brings up an interesting point about market timing. How do you know when a market is right for BRRRR?
You want to look for what I call the sweet spot indicators: rising days on market, price reductions increasing by at least 15%, but strong rental demand staying steady. Right now, we're seeing this pattern in about 60% of major metro areas.
That's quite a shift from the pandemic market where everything was selling instantly.
And here's what's wild. In markets where inventory has increased by 40% or more, we're seeing the best BRRRR opportunities in 5 years. But you need to understand local economic drivers, job growth, population trends, major employers.
How are successful investors managing multiple projects simultaneously? It seems like it could get overwhelming quickly.
The data shows that most successful BRRRR investors start with one project, perfect their system, then scale up gradually. About 75% use professional property managers once they hit 3 properties. It's all about knowing your limitations.
And that's fascinating how it evolves from hands-on to more of a business operation.
And here's the really interesting part. Investors who scale systematically like this see about 30% better returns over 5 years compared to those who try to grow too quickly. It's like compound interest for real estate.
Well, this has given me a whole new perspective on real estate investing. Any final thoughts on what people should watch for?
Look, the market's shifting creates opportunities, but success with BRRR comes down to 3 things: thorough analysis before you buy, maintaining strict renovation budgets, and understanding your local market dynamics. The investors who follow these principles are the ones building sustainable wealth, not just chasing quick flips.
That's a perfect way to wrap this up. It's about building a system for long-term success.
Exactly. And remember, in real estate investing, slow and steady really does win the race. The data proves it. Systematic BRRRR. Investors consistently outperform the market by focusing on fundamentals rather than trying to time market peaks and valleys.